Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases. Hello, everyone. Glad you're able to join us tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And for those that's coming in throughout this evening, I thank you all for being here. As we have our presentation tonight, and it's kind of our schedules from what my normal showings are, we're going set back a little bit later in the evenings for a while. There's a lot of work I'm having to do that has conflicts with the earlier time. So until we get through all of those, whenever I can find the time to get on here, I will, guys. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all for your support. And but tonight we're going to be discussing just a few of the trending topics I've looked on, and that if you type in any of the local news or national news, trending crime, you'll see these of some cases that have been to the court systems, some recent charges, investigations ongoing. There's always crime out there, and it's all the way across this country. Always has been, always will be. And is there anything as a society that we can do to change it? No, other than just, for individually, for each of our families, always be alert and situational awareness, and reach out to your loved ones. And if you see them in any type of trouble, always notify local law enforcement or people that can assist these families, because there's a lot of stuff goes on out there. Even within families that we often try to minimize, and sometimes by waiting too long, it has a far greater harm to our families and everything. And we don't need that here coming up on the holiday seasons or anytime. But I've got a few cases we're going to look at. And of course, while you're in chat, if you have a case specifically you want to discuss, throw it in there. I'll look it up and we can discuss that and mess around. As some of my older, long-time supporters, you'll remember when I did the morning watch shows. And this is a hybrid between my earlier shows and my morning watch shows. So we'll go all over the topics from everything from true crime to those who remember the Waffle House days. Speaking of, I do have a separate slideshow that I'll be towards the end bringing up of another one of my kitchen exploits. Mrs. Steve has sent me up here to Georgia. I'm by myself. I had to come up doing some work with a former member of law enforcement that I worked with in CSI, and to get some work done on one of our code cases. And I've also been in contact with a couple of experts from another state regarding one of our code cases. So I'm on a working travel trip here, but trying to get all that caught up. With that said, before we get too far in, let's see who's in comments. There's BG. Good to see you. Junior Johnson. Oh, they were here earlier today. Bama Sin. Hello, Kit. There's Farmer. Farmer's out there. Junior Johnson at 919. Always. Decent people are asleep at that time. Talking about decent people. Oh, me. There's Marion Tate. Good to see you. And Cunningham. Here goes Farmer. Farmer says, I'm wide awake and has taster's choice. Hello, Mitzi Scott. Good to see you. BG, Bridge Guy, Original Gangster. I don't know. I don't think I don't know what BG ever. Um, Mrs. Steve's also goes by BG. Our oldest grandson calls Mrs. Steve BG, but that's for best grandma. Hello, Lisa, Paula. Good to see y'all. Josh the Posh, Stephanie, Copper Horse. Hello, Texas Ranger. Texas Ranger's been out hunting. He's got him a 10-pointer. Excellent. Yes, I have been in and out of the cold all day, and we're not much warmer than you are right now, Farmer. I think I checked a while ago. It's like 28. We're about the same temp, actually, here in Georgia. North Georgia is absolutely getting slammed right now. Hello, Miranda Lee. Good to see you. Double Agent 205. Hello. That's a great name. Maxwell Smart. Get smart. But that was Agent, what was Agent 99, 89? What was his girlfriend's number? Farmers crocheting. Oh, hello, Mustang 65. Yeah. Get here to the show here in just a second. But there's a lot of good, strange cases up there, and there's been some sentencing done. So we'll talk about them for a few minutes. Down in Florida, which is now my new home and will be my new home, permanent home at some point when we finalize getting moved out of Georgia. But Florida, of course, has some special cases, and there's always going ons down here. Or down there. I'm in Georgia right now, but there's some weird people across this country, and a lot of people poke fun at Florida about Florida man, and I'm now a Florida man, and I haven't met up or lived up to the standards of what some of those fools down there do, and everyone I've met down there is absolutely great people, and I've enjoyed everybody I've met, but I haven't run across these special people, and people that like to get zipped up in suitcases, and people that like to put people in suitcases and assist them in their demise. Absolutely strange case. This woman here, Sarah Boone, had went on for months and months and months and years of the court system, taking advantage of each and every aspect of the courts that she could, multiple attorneys, and but finally has and had rejected, and now of course she is going to prison. Absolutely crazy case. And then we have one that's pending, coming up out of I think that's out of Oregon. Yes, of this husband and wife. The wife had went missing right before Thanksgiving after having filed for divorce late October. And of course, we find out that her husband has been charged with her homicide. And Oregon officials are investigating Susan Lane Fournier's death as a homicide after her body was discovered near a highway. And police have arrested her husband, Michael, and charged him with second-degree homicide, and that she had filed for divorce. I just don't understand some of the interactions of these, of what goes on. Absolutely unbelievable. And we have to be aware. And, especially around the holiday seasons, there's, in law enforcement, there is a spike that we see often, especially within the home environments and children's and homes that are being split. But when you see these older individuals, that's it's not as much of that that I was involved with. We saw a few of them, but nothing like what we were currently seeing. I don't know if that's just due to that we are so much more aware through our social media platforms, and so easy for us to get information from across the country. And all this stuff is easily looked up and seen. And then, of course, we have another Florida situation with another female that she was recently sentenced to 20 years in prison and for shooting her estranged husband in Florida. And she had, prior to that, had accused him of poisoning his first wife and then alleged that he was now poisoning her. From looking at it, of course, I think law enforcement did an investigation on that and found out that there was no charges and evidently for there to be no charges, there was no types of poisons found in her system, for the fact that most of those poisons, they do have a trail, and it doesn't matter if it's from antifreeze to some of the other heavy metals and things out there. And I've even seen when we was in studying some of our homicides of some of the mushrooms, that there was a few homicides that people would take care of their nemesis with mushrooms. Crazy. Let's see what else. And then out of Virginia, this Naresh Bhatt was indicted by the Prince County grand jury and faces a charge of homicide, as well as a count of defiling a dead body. His wife has never been found, but they linked her DNA to the blood that was found in the couple's home. Now, Mrs. Steve would absolutely look at this individual's eyes and say there's something wrong there. Somebody's not home. And I would tend to agree looking at him, although most of your booking photos aren't of that things. And but it's absolutely unbelievable that they haven't found her yet. But hopefully they will. And then we have this coroner guy, Christopher Dontel, charged with a conspiracy of homicide and the death of Gregory Rice, who was shot to death in 2020. At the time of his death, Rice was the father to 4 children with Megan Jackson, that you see here on the right, with who Dontel was allegedly having an affair. And the both of them are facing the same charges and will be tried separately. The victim had been wrapped in a tarp that was secured by zip ties, weighed down by at least 1 cinder block, secured with a ratchet strap. At the autopsy, according to determined, Rice had been shot 5 times. And that's one thing I can tell you about people that secrete and try to hide victims within waters. After the decomposition occurs with these victims, watery graves, it takes a tremendous amount of weight to hold down a human body. I've been part of investigations where batteries were used, concrete, and just simple nothing. And they will all eventually pop up. Very rarely will a victim in the water not come to the surface if they don't have any type of anchors. But occasionally you'll see one that won't come to the top, but that would be someone that's generally of very little weight, or there's dismemberment involved. But even with the case out in California, where what was Peterson, when he dismembered her, she still, or parts of her, I think she was just anchored down in the bay. But as decomp came along, and she was certain parts of her released, and she floated to the bank and was discovered, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she was. Yeah, this Sarah Boone is. So going to be serving life in prison. That prison is going to be special. All right, let's get back in the chat and see what's going on. Get back in the chat. Oh, see what? Oh, me. But if y'all know anything specifically or have any questions about any of those cases or can share some light on that, absolutely do so. Oh, let's see here. Try to get back in the chat here. Oh, man. It's cold here. I hope it's warm wherever y'all are. But Georgia's miserable. Florida's rather nice. Mrs. Steve has it going on right now. Sharon Edwards, good to see you. Lala, hello. And Karen Langston, good to see you. If y'all do not know who Karen Langston is, she is the mother to Doug Teal and absolutely has been a part of trying to find justice for Doug. Look up that name and you will find her fight for justice for him. Let's see. BG evidently answered Farmer about what his name was. I don't know if I missed that. I missed that. CJK, good to see you. CJK says it's Agent 99. I'm trying to think what her real name was. I can't remember. Yeah, everybody remembers that. That tells you all our ages, guys. Get smart. Chaos, wasn't it? Wasn't that the Chaos was after him? I love that show back in the day. Stephanie says, "Are you moving closer to Ruckus?" I'm just over an hour away from Ruckus. Occasionally we get together, work on some cold cases, and of course, he's doing some work with the myself and the foundation, and I think he's heading out in a few days, actually, on one of our cases. Farmer, 10-1, she was driving a Dodge Charger, like all criminals in Florida. Yeah, funny. Oh, maybe that's funny. Y'all are hilarious. CJK said, I could not follow that one. She's just too weird. Which one, Sarah Boone or the one that they consider as the, I think this one they consider, there was a movie, wasn't it, The Black Swan, and they made a lot of references to her acts in comparison to that movie or something, if I'm not mistaken. Both of them weird. Both of them weird. Timmy's Legacy. There's Barbara Hall. And of course, with Timmy's Legacy, if you look up the case of Timmy Dees, you will see Barbara Hall and her fight for justice for Timmy Dees. Another case out of Missouri, out of Fredericktown. There's Doodlebug. Good to see you. Necessary Evil. Good spelling. IR here. Rejoice. Oh, me. Oh, y'all too funny. Thank you, Mustang 65. Justice for Timmy Dees. Joshua Posh has been a member for 25 months. Thank you. Appreciate your support. It means a lot to us, guys. That allows us to work on these cases. Without, we wouldn't. He has crazy eyes. You have to be talking about this fool. And I mean, he does. I would agree with Mrs. Steve on this one's eyes, if this is the one you're talking about. Hello, Jill. Farmer says, "Wow, that is hitman stuff." Um, yeah, I knew of in our uh, jurisdiction, uh, only had dealings with at least one hired gunman that was hired to come in, but he was arrested. This would have been, oh goodness, mm, late 80s, early 90s. Um, and of course, he served his time. And after getting out, he wasn't long for this world. They found him in an adjoining county, um, and had someone had taken care of him. Stephanie says, "What are you working on now, Steve?" I'm currently, uh, we've got a couple of cases up in the Midwest that we're looking at. I've got another new case up there, um, and I've got some other cases that uh, the families have reached out to me. I've got to do some research on those and see which of those that may have uh, some type of something that we can bring to the cases, because we really want to focus on cases that there is something that we can work with or work on. Um, and you know, there's so many of them out there that I wish we could help them all, but some of them there's just not anything uh, that allows that. Uh, but of course, we have two cases in Missouri that's been presented to the prosecutor, that being Timmy Dees and Durante Martin, and we're still waiting on information back from the prosecutor, and of course, working with some CSI experts on the Durante case to further that along. Boston Christian. Sarah Boone does not have a lot of fans. No, um, absolutely doesn't. Even her attorneys, now she has more attorneys than she has fans, or she had. She went through quite a few of them. No, it's beautiful in Florida. I left when I left Florida the other day. It was 71 degrees. Absolutely gorgeous down there. Um, and then as I slowly came north into Georgia, um, as I was, I think by the time I hit the state line, it was like 30 degrees cooler. Lala says it's -2 Celsius in St. John's, Newfoundland. I take it -2 Celsius is somewhere well below freezing. I don't know anything about Celsius. I don't know what that would be in Fahrenheit. Oh, Mitzi Scott, thank you. Gifted 5 True Crime Web memberships. Thank you. Appreciate that. Helps us tremendously. And thank you, Mustang Justice, for Doug Till. Mustang is on it tonight. Double Agent 205. CJK said that show cracked you up as a teen. Uh, I'm in the same boat. I still, if I never find the reruns, there's some of the old shows that you can find at some of those old channels. Don't hear much about poisoning people anymore. The last one, I had a friend I worked with. His wife was poisoned by a coworker. A serial offender that was in Metro Atlanta. She had poisoned numerous people in her family with antifreeze and some of her co-workers, and she was one of those that was poisoned. That would have probably been back in the 90s, maybe early. Yeah, it was in the 90s sometime. Danielle. Hello, hello. What a name, Danielle. Y'all crack me up. Boston says it's 18 wherever they're at. Curtis Wrecking Crew, Steve, is anything planned for the Evansdale case? You or Ruckus? I'm hoping we see a break in that case. Yes, Ruckus is heading out up there. The foundation and I, of course, have been working with it. And Ruckus has a great relationship with Drew and has been communicating with him. And while I'm getting ready for our next year's stuff, Ruckus is taking the close out the year. There's some people up there and some that need to be interviewed, and he's going to be taking care of that in the coming days, weeks, and months. Danielle says they still haven't found her. I'm assuming you're talking about, yes. From what they say, they haven't, and it's strange that they wouldn't if this individual, I mean, I don't know if she's in water or, I mean, there's so many different ways. I would imagine probably so, but then of course you can have shallow clandestine graves also. Thank you, Necessary Evil. Yeah. Mrs. Steve has done sent me up here. And like I said, I've got some cooking tips for y'all in a minute. I'm going to share with y'all. Farmer, $4 super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out where my blue light in Georgia is on the opposite side. The blue light here, of course. So if you see me reaching the wrong way, that's what it is. But thank you, Farmer. Appreciate that. Yes, it is great that they are now, and it's due to our advancements in science. Used to that when you found pools of blood and you couldn't associate it to a certain family or a certain missing person, DNA has solved that. And of course, medically, if there's a substantial amount of blood loss and evidence to that, and we can link it to an individual, that does allow our court systems to proceed. Necessary Evil says, let me know when y'all do a Florida case with Ruckus. I'm so down. I take it you're from somewhere in Florida. And actually, I think next week I'll probably be heading down to South Florida on a missing person. And there's work to be done down there. Yeah. Anyone that, I mean, I don't even know how you talk someone into getting into a suitcase. Uh, each and everybody has their own little secrets, but my goodness. Now, if you ever find me in a suitcase, um, it's due to it's going to be a big suitcase. I can tell you that. Oh, Farmer. Yes, Josh Price. I know nothing about the Boone case. How do you get a living someone into a suitcase willingly? I think there was some type of intoxication, and it may have been a game that they played before. And people do some crazy, weird stuff out there, no doubt. Listening to this woman talk in court, um, that would be all I would need to know about Mayor of Crazy Town. She's there. She's one of their leading candidates. Boston Christian and Steve. I found out the Indiana, Kentucky I-65 serial offender lived about a half hour from Evansville, Iowa. Harry Edward Greenwell, but he passed in 2013, and the girls were missing in 2012. Yes, from my understanding, there was multiple persons of interest looked at, and vehicles from other abductions in the area and other types of serial offenders, from my understanding. "37 degrees in Nebraska." I like going through Nebraska. Nebraska. Now that's crazy there. 39 degrees in Florida near Miami. I can't remember. I looked at so many attempted abductions, and other linked cases. And there's a lot. Iowa has a huge amount of missing persons in certain areas. And the county where these were Lyric and Elizabeth was found, there's other missing, or not missing, they were found, but young girls going all the way back into the 70s. And so there's somebody up there that's truly evil, because none of those cases have ever been solved. Yeah, I'm bigger than carry-on luggage. That's funny. Oh, Karen says that Barbara Felden was the Agent 99, Get Smart sidekick. Yeah, they playing hide and go seek. Yeah, they playing hide and, yeah. Okay. All righty. I'm going to share something with y'all tonight. Like I said, this is a little bit different. Like I said, I was up here, and I'm being a bachelor here in Georgia, and I had called Mrs. Steve earlier and told her I had to go grocery shopping to get something to eat, because we've been back and forth between Florida and Georgia so much that I have run out of all the groceries. And one of the things I had picked up was a frozen pizza, and I'm getting older, evidently, for the fact that the exploits of what happened tonight while I was trying to cook, I decided to throw this in here, as our show often did for the morning watch. We would get off into some food. And so I'm going to give y'all some cooking tips with Steve from On Location. The disaster ovens is what I call my kitchen environment now. And but I learned something tonight, that for whatever reason, when I took the pizza out of the box, the cardboard stuck to the bottom, and I didn't see it. And so I cooked that pizza just as it said instructed, for the just like I like it. The cheese was golden, crispy, and it looked good. And I went to cut it, and at that time, I found out that the bottom of the pizza was still dough, sticky dough. And I found out that time it had one of these round disc on the bottom, paper. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to do this. And I came up with a brilliant plan. I flipped the pizza upside down, and I said, I'll broil it. I'll flash broil the crust. I'll cook that dough, And because you can see I already cut it, did a great job cutting it, very precise. And it cut, uncooked dough cuts really well, guys. Uh, and, it really does. and but like I said, I had the brilliant idea of doing that. And but there's certain things that you must know, and this is some key points I'm about to share with you with my cooking tips here. That if you do decide to cook your pizza in this manner, um, you have to see what happens with a broiler, and you shouldn't use. Um, and I've got some tips for the smoke alarm tips for ovens, um, and it's. I'm going to share these with you. That don't use your smoke detector as a oven timer, because I just throwed it in there for a minute or two. Went back to the living room to do the look at TV and check on what news was going on, and the smoke detectors went off. And so I said, "Well, oven timer's going," and I looked up online how to keep your smoke detectors from going off, and they're first. And that cracked me up when I saw the first thing about the smoke detector. They said to keep it from going off, reduce the smoke. Well, that's hard to do that when you're uh, cooking a pizza upside down, and then you wave a dish towel. And I did that, and so I was standing after I got the pizza out of the oven, and and you can see that some of the crust is absolutely golden brown. The other is a little bit past golden. Ah, man. Yeah. Yeah. You got to remove that pizza cardboard before cooking. But those are my cooking tips. Ah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Leave me up here in Georgia by myself and see what happens. Yeah. I can't. PKC. Yes, apparently I never played hide and seek the correct way. Never heard of everyone hiding and no one seeking. Danielle said, I've done that. Yeah. No, I took the plastic wrap off, but if yeah, so I passed that. Farmer says tip for undercooked crust actually is add a bottom layer. Just leave the cardboard on it, and it'll do that. Lala says, Mr. C, have you any knowledge that the police in Evansdale have any information they are not necessarily sharing? Hate to think they have nothing. Drew will tell you that everything that we have generated over the last 2 years is a one-way street. Law enforcement is extremely close to the chest with everything involving Evansdale, which is fine. We go out there, we create leads, generate leads, persons of interest, whatever, and we send it in. Those tips, Ruckus has sent in some, I've sent in some, and we go and do our thing, and we send in those tips. And if at some point we have no idea um, uh, what law enforcement does with those tips, if they follow up on them or not, but we've done our thing, and we will continue to do our thing on the Evansdale. Yes, Stephanie. Yeah, yeah. I'm a great cook. I may open me up a pizza shop. Home ec. Let me tell you, my homeroom classroom was a home ec um, back in high school, uh, and of course, I didn't take home ec. Obviously, I needed to. Tommy Frost is the king of upside down pizza. I didn't even know there was such a thing. And he may know smoke prevention tips as well. Oh, no, Mitzi says, have you told Mrs. Steve? I can imagine her face. No, I haven't shared that with her yet. Because I was getting ready for the show and everything else. And it's just one of those things. Mrs. Steve got mad at me when I burned up her groceries. We put a bag of groceries on the stovetop, and some way or another, I caught one of her bags of groceries on fire a year or two ago, and she hasn't let me live that down yet. And you burn up one bag of groceries on a stovetop, and you pretty well get banned from the kitchen. Timmy's legacy. Everyone knows to remove the cardboard. Not everyone. Oh. Damn, this is why I don't cook. Mustang 65. I have to turn my ceiling fan on when I cook. Hadn't thought about that. Farmer cooked conveyor. He cooked corn on the cob on a conveyor oven. Ah. Paula says, I know how to cook, but I prefer the microwave. CJK. Now Frosty will use Mr. Steve as an excuse. Yeah. It can happen to anybody. Barbara says, thank you for the cooking tips, Mr. Steve. Yes, I can go on the road, go through the Waffle House and share almost all my stuff. I always cook my oven pizza at 275, mostly because when I inevitably forget it by the time I remember it's cooked perfectly. Yeah, the cheese part. Actually, you can see in this picture, if you look in the top right-hand corner, and that's some of the pizza that once I flipped it back over, that was in, most of it still stuck. A lot of it stuck to the bottom of the pan of the foil, but all the cheese was golden and crispy, and it was perfect. Josh the Posh. Pity money. Pity money. I love it. For Mr. Steve and this food fun. Oh, I don't think I've never had pity fun or pity money for. Oh man. Oh God. Oh, I needed that. Thank y'all. Appreciate that. Boston Christian says, Steve, that would be interesting to go over those missing cases in Iowa. Okay, that'd be something to do. Absolutely. And Paula says, Mr. Steve, I'd like to know your thoughts on the Karen Reed case. I've got some testing I need to do on the Karen Reed case. If that's the one where the boyfriend got run over or got hit or charged with being struck with a car, and there's controversy of is it that, or if this is the same case, best I remember, or if it's the house and the K9 and the bite marks. Mustang cooks pizza in the toaster oven. I don't have a toaster oven. Ruckus and Steve should do a cooking show. I told y'all I went on somebody's chat here recently, and I put in there that oddly I had bought a turkey that favored Ruckus. Oh, me. Boston Christian. We used to, there's not much you can't do a canned biscuit. I even like, what is it? um, pigs in a blanket with I love them things. Gosh, I love the little pigs in a blanket with biscuit, canned biscuits. This, you are so true. And just when Mrs. Steve lets you back in the kitchen. Oh, yeah, you're correct. Now she'll know. Uh, there's several people that have air fryers. I don't have one of those. I don't know if I'm qualified um, to use an air fryer. Bake it until you bake it. Oh, y'all are so funny. Pizza travesty. Farmer Ruckus eats his eggs right out of the shell. Uh, and I thought directions on stuff was over the top, but no, I don't think there's any directions on. Or there may be. I don't know. I don't have time for directions. You're correct. I'd have to do everything. Uh, as Ruckus tells you, if there's anything I can say to help, ask. Oh, he gives me that all the time. Oh, it may just be bare bones cooking, but Sergeant Waffles could do better, I think. I saw what you did there. That's good. Weenies and a biscuit, weenies. Oh, I couldn't call them pigs in a blanket, as our family calls stuffed cabbage rolls pigs in a blanket. Huh. All right. But yeah, I thought that tonight I'd have a little levity and just discuss about anything. But yeah, the ideas about talking about some of the Iowa cases up there is a good idea. Absolutely. We'll look into that. Oh, man. But anyway, guys, if y'all got any questions about anything, throw them in there right quick. And if not, we'll be getting out here. But like I said, I just was trying to get some stuff done on a couple of our cases up in the Midwest, meeting with the CSI guy I used to work with. And then I've got to go up into the Carolinas and meet with a couple other experts in the coming days. But before that, I've got to travel down to South Florida and looking at a missing person down there. But and I'm looking at chat. Y'all are messing with me as always. But still a lot of work to do, and I've got to get up what we're going to do for our schedule next year for our travels, and see what we're going to be doing, and hopefully we'll have a good winter, and I can get out an early start. We had by the time this year will be over, we'll be 40. Well, we're well over 40,000 miles as far as travel working these cold cases this year. A lot of work, a lot of time on the road, and hopefully it will come that it was a very good year, and that we find some justice for some of these families. But anyway, guys, let me see if there's anything that went on in the last few moments, and then we'll be. Oh my goodness, somebody has an 80-year-old oven. Yeah, I don't like greasy pizza. Karen says, "Thank you, Mr. Steve. Pleasure to see you and hear you. Don't get your hair dryer mixed up as a hair your hair dryer mixed up as an air dryer. I don't. By the time I just run a towel through my hair, it's dry, so I don't have to worry about that. But anyway, guys. Danielle says, as someone in the Midwest, what can I do, if anything, to spread the word? I'm in Minnesota. Absolutely. There's so many stories out there about these families. Anything you can help as far as contacting, sharing flyers, assisting some of these people in need, these families. They're always looking for people to get the word out. Mitzi Scott. I have a 1948 tap-in deluxe electric oven with a canner and bread warmer and spice cabinet. Holy cow. All right, guys. Y'all take care. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.